Let's give Elijah another hand. Good stuff, right? I gotta follow sexual energy. I mean, come on. Are we ready? David, we are recording? We're good to go? All right, cool. So as you can see, the message is on closing and dropping down mastery. Yes. For my managers and future managers in the room, I want you to pay attention to how this message is delivered. I'm going to try and do it in a way that if I were doing a workshop for even brand new representatives, this is how I would teach it. But I am willing to bet from past experience that even those of you that are good at sales will pick up some nuggets from this and improve your closing and dropping down. One of the keys to consistent sales success is learning how to take a customer from interested and excited to comfortable in buying today. Interested and excited and comfortable in buying today. Don't read the handout, I'll get to it later. A lot of good stuff in there. In other words, learning how to close sales. Let me tell you why I'm excited to teach this. Because when I was a new representative, I loved doing a demo. I loved it. I loved the presentation, and I hated the end of the presentation. I used to get nervous when we get to the end. We did the comparison. We used to do a Henkel's comparison. I got nervous when I had to deliver the price. I was uncomfortable when we were dropping down. I was uncomfortable. I knew I was supposed to, my manager always said, go slow when you drop down. I didn't really know what that meant, but I kind of felt like, how about this one? How about this one? How about this one? And it just didn't feel right. Then I went to my first conference and I heard a talk like this, and it changed my attitude towards the end and also my results. My average order before my first conference was $110. I sold on average 3 pieces. And then my average order by the end of the summer was $350. And it was all because I got better at dropping down. I don't think my demo actually got any better. By the way, this is before we had, the homemaker was the only set we had. There was one color. All right? And it was $614. The goal of my message is to help you understand better the information and feelings that you're trying to convey at the end of the presentation. To help you understand what the customer's thinking so you can understand your role, right? And ultimately, I want to give you more confidence in the end of the presentation. That also added some practical hints on just how to fine-tune things. So let's start with a working definition so we're all in the same framework. There we go. What is closing? All right, this is my working definition. This is what I was taught. I can't take credit for this. Closing is helping someone feel comfortable in getting something they already want. All right, so here's some keys. They want this. If at the end of the demo you get done and they say, I don't like it and I don't want it, you're done. You are done. If they say anything else besides, I don't like it and I don't want it, you're not done. If they say, oh, I really like it, but I want to talk it over with my spouse, you're not done. If they say, oh, I really like it, call me back next month after we're done paying the kids' tuition, you're not done. If they say, oh, I really like it, but I'm not sure we would use all of that, you're not done. Key phrases when you're closing, they want it. They do want it. There is an occasional weird person who says it's too sharp. You're done. Okay? Yes, all of you at some point, if you hadn't had it yet, you'll have that weird person. Second key, besides they want it, is you're helping somebody. It's not something, this is not going to be, you're not trying to manipulate the person here. Closing, when done correctly, is something that you do with somebody, with and for somebody. If they want it, and I'm helping them feel comfortable, I'm not trying to get them to spend money they don't feel comfortable in spending. If they want it, and I'm just helping them feel comfortable, I'm doing this with them, not to them. So that's proper closing. And who makes out better when someone buys Cutco? I don't know, I sold it 24 years ago. How do you think they like their Cutco? They still love it. It's great, because I know the people I sold it to. And I know how sharp it is. And I know that they've all got it resharpened. But like that commission, dude, I spent that a long time ago. Third key, feel comfortable. They want it, helping, feel comfortable. People have trouble making decisions. And when you have trouble making decisions, what you tend to do is put them off. It's easier to put things off. It's natural. We talked about this earlier in my leadership message. It's normal and natural to stay in your comfort zone. It's easier to say, I'll think about it, let me do it later, than to try and make a decision. And they're nervous. And Tyler said this earlier. What are they nervous now? It's not about spending money. The people that you sit down with will spend money somewhere, probably in the next 48 hours. It's not about spending money. It's about making the right decision on what they're spending the money on. So when they're nervous, don't get confused that they're not going to spend money. They're probably going to spend $50 to $100 in the next 48 hours. They're just nervous that it's the right thing to spend it on. And that's what they're trying to figure out. They don't want to make the wrong decision. See, you have to realize the way our presentation is designed, we take most people, we start a demo, and they're thinking to themselves, I'm probably not going to get anything. And within 40 minutes, we go from, I'm probably not going to get anything to, this is pretty good. And then, all of a sudden, it's $500 to $1,000. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got a little nervous. I went from, I'm probably not going to get anything, to, this is pretty good, to, now I'm thinking about spending $500 to $1,000. Do you see how that makes someone nervous? Doesn't mean it's a bad choice. It's just that it would be natural for them to get a little nervous. So here's where our attitude comes in. Our attitude has to be, it's not just our job to present the product, it's our job to help people feel comfortable in getting it. Now, I didn't say help people feel comfortable getting an ultimate set. I didn't say help people feel comfortable getting a signature set. I didn't say help people feel comfortable getting a homemaker. I just said help them feel comfortable in getting it, which means something different for every person. This is why I can raise your average order. I'm not trying to sell one thing. I'm trying to help the customer feel comfortable in getting something they want. And I'll figure out what that is by working with them. All right? That's what dropping down is. Once you get that, it changes everything. See, when I was new, I would tell you that closing is 90% demo and 10% the end. And because of that, I worked really hard on my demo. Like, I practiced this. Anybody can relate to this? I practiced my demo. I had food. I was really proud of it. If I went to a conference and there was a demo panel, I was taking notes. And then I got to the end. I never practiced the price comparison. I didn't memorize what they told me to memorize. I ran through it. I wasn't sure what I was trying to do. And I didn't really ask for the order with much confidence. I thought it was all the demo. I thought the demo made up everything. That was my average order of $110. As I learned and improved and went through this conference, I learned that it's probably closer to 60-40. Some people would even tell you it's 50-50. That 60% of the sale is the demo, but 40% is how you actually finish it up. The demo is important, don't get me wrong. But that doesn't mean the person's going to feel instantly comfortable. So you should have to expect to work with the customer at the end of the presentation. Like, you should think, if I'm going to be good here, I can't just work hard at doing a good demo, I have to work hard at the end of the presentation. It's my job to help the person make a decision. It's going to be normal for someone to be hesitant. If you get to the end of the presentation and they're a little bit nervous, that doesn't mean you did a bad demo. In fact, it probably meant you did a good one. And now, you just have to help them feel comfortable. So when I started to get this, when I left my first conference, I can say that I worked as hard at the end of my presentation as I did my presentation. And that changed everything. Some of the tips that were given to me is I practiced it in the mirror. So I'm going to give you some of my steps to a good close, and some of my tips that I learned. To memorize it. Cold. The end, so you can make it a conversation. Not kinda. Here's when you know it cold. And by the way, it doesn't mean you can't mess up something. But when you can look someone in the eye, the time that when you're talking to them and you're delivering the prices, it's so much different. You can start to focus on what their body language is because you know everything. Did you like Cutco? Great. Have you ever done the price fine cutlery? Most people haven't. I mean, in combination with most products, there's a wide range of quality and prices available. Mrs. Jones, it's like anything else. You could buy a big pen for 29 cents. You could buy a cross pen for $29. Now, I'm sure you'd agree with me that you can't compare Cutco to a cheap set of knives you find at a local bargain store. I know that the verbiage is a little bit different. Can you tell how well I know this? I haven't done a demo in 10 years. And I know this, and you could wake me up in the middle of the night and I can rattle this off. Why? Because I practiced it when I was a representative in a mirror over and over so I could deliver it with confidence. Practice it. All right? The mirror thing, you'll see if you have eye contact. When you practice in the mirror, you'll see if you can actually look at yourself while you'll laugh, like you'll be like, oh, I'm stupid. But you'll be able to see if you're smiling, which I'll get to in a second when you deliver a price. Practice it, all right? That's why it's a great workshop to do with other representatives in the office, because you can do it with each other and really help each other with this. Tip number 2, as you can see on the handout, get better at building up the competition. Now, again, when I was a rep, we used Henkel. Some of you use Wusthof. It doesn't matter what you use. The idea of the competition is to raise their expectation of what they've been spending on knives. All right? I didn't get that. So when I was a new rep, what I used to do was, all right, Mr. Jones, here's a set. It's called Henkel's, and it's, a German brand, and it's really expensive. This is how much it costs. I didn't get what I was trying to do. And here's Cutco, and we're better than them. What you're trying to do is you want to build value so much in the competition that we look like, oh my gosh, this is such a great value. So as an example, you should do like a mini features and benefits for the competition. Now again, my clothes is Henkel, so if you use Wusthof, just interchange the two. So I used to say, Mr. Jones, now Henkel's, they use polypropylene handles. Polypropylene is a really strong plastic, so it's going to last for a really long time. They have 428 high carbon stainless steel. It's a really strong steel. If you sharpen it consistently, it'll stay sharp for a long time and it won't rust, all right? They have a limited warranty, but it's better than most of the things on the market. And honestly, Mr. Jones, if it wasn't for Cutco, I would tell you to probably go take a look at a Henkel's because it's a pretty good product if you take care of it. The problem is most people don't take care of it. So I build it up. You build it up. And I used to say, if it wasn't for Cutco, I would probably tell you to take a look at. Use pauses. The power of silence. When you have it memorized, now I was kind of blurting things out, but if I was with a customer, I wouldn't have done it that quickly. At twice the quality and value, you'd expect twice the price. Pause. And at twice the price, Mrs. Jones, you'd be looking over $2,000 for a set of Cutco. Pause. And let me show you what you get for that. And so I had pauses. So once you get it down, not a couple pauses, it helps things stick. Make it a conversation. When you explain, now I used to, again, I only had a homemaker, okay? So if you're just explaining, when I say explain how big the set is, if you're explaining all three, you want to make them realize how much they're getting. I've seen people when they do the end of the presentation, like, here's the homemaker, you get all 10 tools. No, here's the homemaker, here's what you get, Mrs. Jones. You get the paring knife for your peeling needs, you get your trimming utility knife, you get this one, like, make them realize how big, you get this attractive wood block, you get a cutting board. Make them realize how big. You also get your free Pana subscription with this. Help you use your knives better. You're not saying that you need to add it. Give the prices confidence. Remember I said practice in the mirror? You give good news and bad news 2 different ways. So this was me when I was a new representative. And Mrs. Jones, the homemaker, it's only $614. Like my whole demeanor would change. Mrs. Jones, the homemaker is $11.49, and the one without the table is only $9.14. Are you smiling when you deliver it? Check yourself, because if you're not, I'm telling you, you guys have heard this, over half of what we communicate is nonverbal. So if you're doing your demo, and you're like me when I was a new rep, and you're all fired up about your demo, it's like, Mrs. Jones, let me tell you about the guarantees, let me tell you about the features and benefits, and you're all fired up, you're like, all right, let me tell you the price. It's like night and day. I used to do that with people. I said, all right, let me hear your guarantee page. You're like, ah, and I could see their enthusiasm. Like, all right, go tell me the prices. And you could see the shift. I'm like, if this is where you are on the guarantee page, that's the enthusiasm. This shows the homemaker, it's only $11.49. And the basic homemaker is only $9.14. You want to give it confidently? It's good news. Smile. All right? That's something that most people have to practice. But I'll tell you, it'll raise your average order. I don't know how that keeps happening. That's crazy. First call special. You should be excited about the first call special. All right, let me show you what I mean by excited. Mrs. Jones, let me tell you about the exciting program we have called the First Call Special. Like for you, like First Call Special, like you've said it so many times, like, oh, Mrs. Jones, and by the way, for First Call Special, we also give you this for free. Blah, 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 blah. Mrs. Jones, let me tell you about this exciting program we have. It's called your First Call Special. What it is bonus Cutco merchandise for people who place an order the first time I'm with them. So if you get this set today, automatically free, I will give you this pair of super shears for free. $100 value just for placing an order today. Like get excited about First Call Special. I know you might feel a little game show hosty when you do that. And if you buy today, you get a second set, absolutely free. But yes, that's what why do they do that? Because it works. So you got to get out of this First Call Special rut, because for us, it's like, oh yeah, First Call Special, First Call Special, First Call Special. And it's got to be excited about it, all right? Get good with the payment plans. Here's what I mean by get good with the payment plans. Not only do you quote every price on a payment plan, but I want to encourage you to go one step further. I want you to write it down and show it to them. Some people are very visual. I'm one of them. When people tell me prices, it makes me uncomfortable. When I can look at them on a piece of paper, I process it differently. So for you just to spit prices to me makes me uncomfortable. And a lot of times when people are talking to me, I take notes while they're talking because that helps me process things. I'm a visual person. Everybody's different. That's why you want to do both. But you know, when you get prices, by the way, I'm going to recognize, I know Carlos Castro isn't here. Carlos is in Maryland right now. Carlos was the number 2 sales rep in the country this summer. Sold $75,000, the number 2 scholarship winner, not number 2 rep, number 2 scholarship winner in the country. And Carlos and I had a conversation with him back when he was at around $15,000 or $16,000 in sales for the summer. And you know what we worked on? Payment plans. And he said, Earl, my average order is way off. I'm selling something big or it's nothing at all, and I'm not much. And I was like, so we started talking. I was like, tell me what you think it is. What do you, I started a coaching conversation, and then I said, tell me how you're doing the payment plans. And he's like, oh, I'm not. I'm like, dude, how long like for these are no cost. Cost is at like, $150,000 in career sales, and I was like, you're not doing payment plans? No. I'm like, dude, and then I taught them visual, make them write it down. And so whether it's you take out a piece of paper and you write down the numbers on a piece of paper so they can see them, or what I actually did is I had actual order forms with the prices on them that I would show to customers as I dropped down so they could actually see the sets. Something that they can see the prices visually, but get good with the payment plans. Let me teach you something. Most people, when they decide they want to buy and they're trying to figure out, what am I going to get? There's a number in their head that they feel comfortable in spending. For some people it's $150, for some people it's $200, for some people it might be $60. There's a number in their head. Remember I told you they're going to spend money the next 48 hours? They'll spend whatever that number is the next 48 hours, okay? When you hit that number is when they buy. If you hit that number by not using payment plans, you'll get a small order. If you hit that number on payment plans, you'll get the same order because they'll process it and they'll be like, yeah, I can spend $100 today. So instead of a $100 order, you get a $300 order. All right? By the way, our company stats prove this because we track the average order for the company with payment plans and paid in full, and average order is always higher. All right? So get good with the payment plans. And my last tip is ask like you expect them to say yes. All right, so get practice. Now, there's all kinds of fancy different ways you can ask. I put this in your handout, it's in there, but here was a close that I was taught after I was brand new. So Mrs. Jones, seeing that everything is to your liking, would you like to go ahead and treat yourself to an investment that will last a lifetime? And get the Homemaker +8 with the kitchen tool set and shears for free or whatever but ask if you expect them to say yes. Now here's where you have to practice. This would be a great workshop in your office, by the way, with other representatives. Ask like you expect to say yes, but in the back of your mind, you're thinking to yourself, I got to be ready for no. Or not no, but I'm not sure. Like, I'm asking, so Mr. Jones, would you like to get the set today and give yourself the kitchen tool set and shares for free? I asked her to spend and say yes, but I'm waiting for, no, or, you know, I really like it, but I just don't think we can spend all that money right now. And the reason you want to mentally prepare yourself for that is because that's what happens most of the time. Most people don't say, yes, just give it to me. They say something else besides that. And you don't want to go, oh, that was me as a new rep. So I'd say, so you're going to get it? And they would go, something besides yes. And I'd go, oh, here we go again. That's what went through my mind. I'm like, crap, I got to do this drop and down stuff again. How about this stuff? How about this stuff? Because I didn't understand the whole working with the customer process. So now that we gave you some practical tips on closing, after all this, your work's not done. In fact, it just got started. And if you do this right, it will feel different, and your average order will have a drastic difference with it as well. You want people to express reservations. It's not bad for them to express reservations. It's normal. You know why you want them to voice their concerns? Because if they don't share them with you now, they're going to share them with somebody else later. So if you're doing a presentation for just the husband or the wife, and they don't share their concerns with you, 3 hours later, when you're not there, they're going to share those concerns. Yeah, I was worried that it was a little too big. You're darn right it was a little too big. And you're not there to answer the concern. I wasn't sure I would use everything. I'd rather have them say it to me, and then I'll handle that uncomfortable feeling and either find a smaller option for them or make them feel comfortable with what they're thinking about. And what will happen is they will then have the answer to their concern. And by the way, there's a name for it. It's called buyer's remorse. Typically, within 2 to 3 hours after you spend money, you start to question whether or not you made the right choice. I don't mean buying a candy bar or buying a pack of gum. I mean, when you're spending like $50, $100, $150, you start to question whether or not it was the right decision. All right? And so it's called buyer's remorse. And so we would rather have them have that come out now. What are common reservations people have? Oh, gosh, you know, I want to think about it or talk it over. All that just means is that they're not sure this is the right decision. Remember I said it's not about spending money. It's about, is this the right decision? I don't want to make the wrong decision. It might be easier for me to put this off than to make a decision. I'm not sure I'm going to use all the tools. We don't want to spend money and feel like we wasted it. We don't want to spend money and feel like we wasted it. Because that doesn't make us feel good. So that's normal to feel that way when they're looking at something maybe even more than they expected to spend. When it's a question of affordability, again, I'm in that uncomfortable realm of I don't know if this is the right amount of money I should be spending. There's a lot of emotion attached to money. Maybe they just spent money 2 hours previous to the demo. Maybe they know they have a bill coming up that they have to pay. Now, there's a number that they probably feel comfortable in spending, you just don't know what it is. But a lot of times when you're just delivering the first price, they might not feel comfortable with that number, and that's the issue. And so that's why this is coming out. These are just common reservations. I know you've heard all these before. So let me teach you the formula that helped me. Now, I know some of you have learned this formula before. It's in your handout. I'm going to go through the steps. Some people call this the objection cycle. Some people call it the decision cycle. The first thing you have to realize is, so, Mrs. Jones, would you like to get the homemaker set, get the kitchen tool set, and shares for free? The first thing you want to do is you have to listen to whatever, you know, so just slow down and listen. Be patient. Don't try and interrupt them and start answering stuff before they get done what they're trying to say. Does anybody, do you ever have someone yes you? Yes. No, let them get it out. Let them share what they're trying to share. I'm not trying to sell a particular set to somebody. I'm trying to help them figure out what they're comfortable with. So I have to listen. So just slow down. That's what the listen step is reminding you to do. Then you want to clarify. Clarify means repeat back to them what they just told you, so you can make sure that we're on the same page together. So Mrs. Jones, let me just make sure I understand what you're saying. You do like Cutco, and you would get it. It's just that right now, $11.49, is a little too much money for you? Or let's say you quoted the payment plans to begin with. Let's say, what is it on the payment plans? Someone help me out. 246, 246, a little bit too much money right now? Is that what you're saying? Yes, Earl. I want to go, so Mr. Jones, what you're saying is you like Cutco and you would get it. It's just that you really want to talk it over with your spouse before you make that final decision. Is that what you're saying? Yes, Earl. I mean, you did a great presentation. You're just a wonderful salesperson. I love when they say that to you. You're just a wonderful salesperson. You're just awesome. It's so awesome. How come you're not buying right now? You know, right? Because I'm not done yet. That's why. All right. I just want to talk it over. So clarify, repeat back to them. By the way, the other thing that does is it lets them know you listen to them. I was taught this way. This is a really good way to, when they give an objection, a wall goes up between you and them, and anything you say is just going to bounce off the wall. When you listen and repeat back, they realize that you listened, and so now they're open to listening to you. Versus you just, let's say you had the right solution, but you go, yes, but. They're not going to listen to you because they didn't think that you listened to them. They just felt like you were just trying to sell them something. So let me understand what you're saying. Just repeat back to them. If not, you'll frustrate the person. Okay? Step 3 is agree. Now, it doesn't, not just say yes, but explain why you agree. And I'll give you an example that I'll give you verbiage to later. So Mr. Jones, what you're saying, by the way, if you didn't get this, I don't know if I had this written down, but this is like great verbiage. So what you're saying is you do like Cutco and you would get it. It's just that $246 a month is a little bit too much money for you right now. It feels uncomfortable for you. Yes, sir. I mean, we just fixed the driveway and we had to redo this and the heater broke and so yeah. I mean, I love it though. I mean, call me next month and we'll get it. Ms. Jones, I completely understand what you're saying. In fact, most of our customers feel the same way that you do. Most of our customers don't get the biggest set. They love the biggest set, but we have a lot of different sets and options that are available, and I'm confident that if you like Cutco, we're going to find something that's right in your budget that has exactly the tools that you want. So let me show you the other options. So I explained why did I agree with them. I said, it's just I totally understand how you feel. In fact, many of our customers feel the same way as you. Most people don't get the biggest set. That's a true statement. It is very popular, but most people don't get the largest set. You know what that does? That makes them realize I'm just like everybody else. A lot of times when you're with a customer and you just delivered the biggest sets, they think they can't afford Cutco because they can't afford that big set. And when you make them realize, oh, Ms. Jones, I totally understand how you feel. Most of our customers feel the same way that you do. Most people, feel uncomfortable with the price, especially just after a 45-minute presentation, even though they love the set. And then here's the but. Now I'm going to give a solution. But Mr. Jones, I'm confident